writer based who writes in Konkani. He served in the Indo-Pakistan War of 1965 and then joined the postal services. Most of his works, which include short stories and novels, have been translated into English, Marathi and Hindi. He received the Sahitya Academy Award in 1993 and the Vidya Pai Vishwa Konkani Sahitya Puraskar in 2010. And his work today, the book that we are launching here today is The Age of Frenzy, which is a translation of his work Yug Samvar, which is been translated by Mrs. Vidya Pai. I'd like to quickly introduce Mrs. Pai. She has translated 5 Konkani novels as well as several stories and essays, including Mr. Sail's work and Mahabaleswar here. And The Age of Frenzy is just published, and it's been published by HarperCollins and should be available on Amazon from this month onwards. So we have some copies here today for the launch. I'd also like to quickly introduce Dr. Budkuley, who's been here with us yesterday, and we're so glad to see her here today as well. She is retired as the Head of Department English, Goa University, and is well known for her writings on Konkani language, literature, and criticism. I'd like her to lead this discussion for us and the launch. I'm over to you.
Today, we are in conversation with 2 very significant people to our understanding of many things. One, the kind of fiction that is written out of Goa and in Konkani. What is the relevance of translation to get this across? And the third important thing is really English and Konkani on a kind of a par, or is there something? Because yesterday we spent so much of discussion on these very things. But before that, first things first, I must say a few things about Shri Mahabaleswar Sail, which some of you must be knowing, some may not be. Shri Mahabaleswar Sail has come to be a kind of an iconic writer of fiction in Konkani. He has won the Sahitya Academy Award for a short fiction. But he has, I think, about 6 novels to his credit. 8 novels, even I have lost count. A Vikhar Vilko, which I didn't take into consideration, and novellas. And the interesting part of his novelistic approach is the research that he conducts into any kind of theme that he selects. The novel that is going to be in discussion today will be Yug Samvar. In fact, you will be interested to know that already some kind of research for PhD degree includes his work in Konkani, because we couldn't wait long enough for this novel to come out in English translation. So in the English department, the Konkani version is being taken up and the translation of passages is being done by the individual concerned. So you can see how important the work of literature is and the significance of primary translation. So we will first have a word from Shri Mahabaleswar Sail. He would like to present something to the audience before we fall into conversation.
I am illiterate in English. After passing the 7th standard, I left the schooling. There is 2 in Kannada medium. I worked 3 years in agriculture fields. Then I joined Indian Army, where I took active part in 1965 Indo-Pakistan War. Then I was on Egypt-Israel border as a Shanti Sainik, peacekeeping force for 1 year. That's all. I present some notes on my Yug Samvar. At a golden moment, I realized that the religious conversion, the migration of the communities, and the invasion would provide enough material for the piece of creative writing. But this was an issue that concerned men's health, so I was hesitant for a very long time. I believe that there are 2 sides to any conflicts. and no one's side can be totally right. I believe in God, but not in any organized religion by confining God within the framework of religion. We breed intolerance of this phase. So my God, who is present in the universe, it does not need any temples or any rituals or any priests. But this was a very delicate, sensitive theme. It would have to be handled with maturity and restraints. If the balance was upset, the total novel would be failure. Besides these moral and ethical issues, I would have to study sociological and historical accounts of the period. Much of this material was available in Central Library in Panji, but I lived and worked in Kankona, which is 70 kilometers away. I thought about these issues for a long time, and only then did I start work on the novel. There are many legends and myths and folk tales dealing with the period of religious conversion. But there are few written records, much of historical materials available in Portuguese. But I do not know that language. My friend Vasan Desai, who know this language, would accompany me to the Central Library and help me to take notes. It took me 2 years to gather all the materials I would need, cultural level as well as the religious and political one. I had to study the social structure of villages, the rituals and the superstition, and the folk religion that prevailed around the time. I visited the area where the fictional village Adolsi would be located and where the rest of the action would be unfold. I would prefer to call Yugsama a piece of creative writing that is based on historical events. My role is that of narrative, and I have attempted to create a piece of literary fiction based on this historical period, drawing upon my imagination, my knowledge, and my Indian culture and experience of the agrarian social structure prevalent in the region. When a writer decides on a theme, he looks a dramatic potential in the subject. He tries to see if there is any scope for creative writing. He is not interested in merely recording the history. History, imagination, and creativity appear in varying degrees in the text. Yugsama was published by Asmita Prakashan in April 2004. At 424 pages, it was one of the biggest novels published in the Budkuley language. It received good response. It was shortlisted in the Saraswati Samman. Since Konkani readership is limited, I wanted this novel to reach wider audience, so I translated it into Marathi. Tanda was published by Rajahans Prakashan, Pune. As the author and translator, I have exercised considerable freedom with Tandav, editing sections and adding new portions. This translation received many awards, including one from the Maharashtra Sahitya Parishad. Age of Fenji, the English translation of Yusamar, was held up for many years because of its length. Every writer believes that all he has written is a complete and should not be tampered with. Practical considerations, however, compelled me to edit and condense Yusamar for this translation. Though I have ensured that no character have been left and the flow of the story remain the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahabaleswar. We have seen a very beautiful but a very sad paradox of our existence as Konkani writers. The deliberations have to be in English, and the writer needs to make a statement that I am illiterate in English. I don't make a statement that I am illiterate in German, I am illiterate in Spanish, I am illiterate in any language. I mean, this needs to change. And hence the importance of translation, so that somebody can translate the novel in English and read it. But I'm very thankful to you, Sailbab, because he gallantly tried to put together all the things that anyone would like to have from him in conversation. I really appreciate it. तुमका खूपच देव बरे करू जे तुम्ही सगळे आमका लागता तितले पॉइंट्स हांगा हाडले. But I want to remind our learned audience about the 3-4 things that are significant. He spoke about the techniques that he has used, the mobilization of legends and certain kinds of metaphorization, etc. that he has used. What is more important is he drew our attention to the sources that were mostly inaccessible, being in Portuguese, and how they passed through a certain kind of a process of interpretation through a frame. So you can see that there is much of a slip between the cup and the lip sometimes. But more significantly, he said the novel was published in 2004. And the second important thing is that it was shortlisted for an important award like the Saraswati Samman. And yet you will see that the novel has not come into translation. And I want to know, because I have more or less known that Vidya was at it for a long time. And he has automatically opened out a page where Vidya can fill in some details and tell us. How is the process of translating this novel has been? What is your experience? And how is the relationship of the translator with the publication world? And are there any hurdles? And what were the incentives to come to this translation now?
Yusamar, like Sailbab just mentioned, was published in 2004 over here. And for all of us, especially Konkani speaking people, now this is the sort of theme. This tells you about Goa, or the Goan region really, in the 16th century. That is when the Portuguese arrived. And basically the whole story is it deals with an imaginary village called Adorshi, which is in this region, and it describes the social, the religious, the cultural features in that village before the Portuguese came, and then over a period of about say 80 years or so, it describes the changes over here. Part of the changes were that because of religious changes and all that, some communities had to chose to leave the region and travel to different other parts. Many went down further south and settled in different pockets. Now what Sailbab does over here is he takes these communities out, and there are various sort of the exodus of people. There are different streams of this sort of an exodus, which is outlined in this book. Now, as far as we are concerned, at least I'm from the southern part of Kerala, Mangalore. So we grew up with this idea. I mean, older people used to tell us that, okay, we are from Goa, we've come over here, we came over here, our ancestors came down. So that sort of a thing has always been in my psyche also. So when we read this novel, this shows the fermentation, etc. in Goa at that time and how people went off. Here you will see, when you do get to read the book, you will see that there are some, he describes different settlements. There's the Nayak settlement, then there's the Shenais, that is the Brahmins, were in a settlement called Raigad. Now, before I got married, I was a Shenai. So I used to imagine that maybe, who knows, one of my ancestors might have been like this. They must have escaped, gone out of Goa and settled further south. So that was the sort of commitment, the sort of attraction that drew me to this book personally. And here the book tells you about this book was published here in 2004. But the point is, it didn't get spoken about, it didn't get talked about as much, except for this small pocket of Goa. People over here know this writer, but even over here, because of the script probably, because of the dialect probably, which is the Hindu dialect used in Goa, so the Catholics wouldn't have been having access to this book. That, as well as the script, which is Devanagari, again, people who are used to the Roman script cannot read this. So I realized that this book has not been spoken about, it hasn't received the sort of encouragement, and it hasn't become familiar to people as much as it should have. So this was one of the reasons I wanted to translate it. But the point is, even after the translation was done, people outside Goa do not really have too much of an idea of Konkani. So getting it published was another huge hurdle for me. This book was extremely big, in the sense 424 pages in Konkani. So by the time it comes to a translation where you're trying to explain many of these concepts, the book becomes much bigger. But normal mainstream publishers are not quite willing to accept such a big translation. So I was told that it's too big for our standards. Maybe if, for the amount of resources that we have to put into this translation, we can get 2 other translations done. And Konkani is not exactly, doesn't have the, the clout to manage, and I had to sort of listen to whatever was said. So because of that, to a large extent, the book was shelved for many, many years. Ultimately, it was reduced in sections, and so this is a streamlined translation. It isn't Yug Samar as it is in Konkani. This is not a word-to-word sort of translation. This is an abridged or a streamlined version of the book.
I would call it a processed one, though not an edited one. But you can see that so many constraints are there, and because of that, the work needs to be reframed or sometimes even restructured. I would like to say one thing. I would actually like to ask the Sailbab about it. Adorshi village, is it not a real village? Because somebody who lives from that village told me, for some time I also believed that it was a fictional village, but it is a real village. And that brings me to one interesting question. There is in this novel what can be described as the history-fiction intersect. So, how have you tried to manage? He balanced इतिहास आणि कल्पित साहित्य हाची एक नाजूकशी जोडणी आसा ती तुम्ही कशी केली? तुम्ही इतिहास सॅक्रिफायस केलो काय फिक्शनान भितर कितें तरी ताका उणाव आयलो कसं दिसता?
जे कितें घडलां तें खरें. धर्मांतर जाला, धर्माविशीं छळ जाला, लोक खंयच्यान धांवन गेलात, इन्क्युशन आशिल्लें, हें सगळें खरें आशिल्लें. तितून अशी कांयच एक घटना ना ती त्या वेळाचेर जावंक नाशिल्ली किंवा हांवें कितें कल्पनेन हाडलां अशें कांयच जावना. सगळे घटना तशें आशिल्ले, पण गॅप्स आशिल्ले. त्या वेळार जे लोक आशिल्ले, कॅरेक्टर्स आशिल्ले, ती कशी उलयताली, कितें उलयताली, ती घटना कशी घडली, ते एक ललित साहित्याच्या एक कलात्मक साहित्याच्या दर्ज्यार वता आसतना हांवें ताका वेगळें रूप दिल्लें आसा. हांवें तें सदांच म्हणटा की इतिहासीक घडणुकेचे बरयले, इतिहास बरयले एक ललित साहित्य कृती, ललित साहित्य कृती. केन्ना एक विशय जाय पडटा. असो तुमकां तरी कोंकणी कळटलें दिसता म्हाका, कळटलें. एक विशय जाय पडटा. तो विशय घेतल्या नंतर मागीर तो विशयाचेर खूब विचार करता, खूब अभ्यास करता. हांव तर खूब करता, खूब विचार करता, खूब अभ्यास करता, आनी तितूंत प्रत्येक घटनेक, प्रत्येक व्यक्तिमत्वाक उबारी दिवचे किंवा ते काय एक व्यक्तिमत्व दिवचे किंवा ते लालित्य हाडचे आणि ते वाचनीय जावचे असे एक ललित साहित्याचे खूप असे आयाम असतात. ते वाचनीय जावं जाय, ते कलात्मक जावं जाय, असे बरेचसे आयाम असतात. ते सगळे आयाम हांव माझ्या प्रयत्नान किंवा अभ्यासान किंवा माझे मित्रांनी म्हणटा की लेखकाक एक प्रतिभा आसूं जाय. त्या प्रतिभेच्या जोराचेर हांवें तो खूब असो प्रयत्न केलो आनी हांव कितें करता खंयचो विशय एक कथा जावं कादंबरी जावं, कथा तकलेंत आयली ती पिकूंक जाय तकलेंत, तेन्ना ते विचार करता. तूं जितलो विचार करता न्ही तेजे चड हें साहित्याक तेजी चड उभार येता. साहित्याक मांडूक ते आनी म्हाका एक हें दिसता, सॅटिस्फॅक्शन दिसता की हांवें बरें बरयलें आनी हांव विचार करनासतना करूं लागता ते खूब उथळ जाता. अशें म्हाका हांवें कितलेशेच म्हागे पेजीस किंवा कितलेशे कथा किंवा अशें पिनून भायर मारला. म्हाका दिसता हें जालें ना. हांव सामकें जातलें परफेक्ट जावचो, ते बऱ्यांतलो बरें जावचें ह्या साठी अभ्यास करता, विचार करता आनी मागीर बरयता. सटकन कितें सुटलें की कथा पर्यंत कितें सुटलें की बरो सुरू केलें अशें केन्ना जालें ना. कथा पर्यंत पुरे मागीर तकलेंत पिकता सुरवाती पर्यंत शेवट पर्यंत आनी मागीर हांव खंय तरी बरोवंक सुरवात करता. पूण थोडोसो प्रतिभेचो भाग आसा. एक खंयच्याय एक विशयाचेर एक कादंबरी उबी करप, ते हांवें हावटण बरप, एक उडाल जिवनाचेर एक साहित्य कृती जाला. अशे बरेचशे विशय पयलीं तुका विशय जे आसा न्ही ते तुगे प्रकृतीक तुगे अनुभवाक अशे लागींशेचे तर जायत न्ही आनी तेजे एक तुका सहानुभूती उरूंक जाय. एक अशें कुंबळा जिवना बद्दल म्हाका एक सहानुभूती आशिल्ली कित्याक तें हांव जिवन तेगेलें लागींचें पळयतालो आनी हो पण विशय न्ही म्हाका अशें वाचपाक जेतून खूब अशें एक नाट्य आसा, व्यथा आसा, दुख्ख आसा, सगळें एक साहित्य कृतीक जे म्हण जाय ते सगळे हे युगसावात आसा अशें म्हाका दिसलें. तेन्ना लोकसाहित्याचो लोकवेदाचो कितलोसो भाग हातूंत आसलो आसा. कितें ना म्हणना एक साहित्य कृती संबंधान जे एक जाय एक कांय आयाम जाय पडटात ते जवळ सगळे हितून आसात. तेका लागून म्हाका ती चड कादंबरी बरी जाली दिसता. जेन्ना हांवें ती मराठींत बरयली आनी दिलीप माजगांवकर राजवंशाचो प्रकाशक तेका धाडली, तो वाचून इतलो इम्प्रेस जालो तो पुण्यांतल्यान गाडी घेवन म्हाका मेळपाक आयलो. तर म्हाका असो जिवनांतलो एक असो बऱ्यांतलो बरो असो अनुभव. तो पुण्यांतल्यान गाडी घेवन आयलो आनी ते 6 म्हयने भितर आपूण कादंबरी काडटा म्हूण सांगून गेलो अशें आनी ते आपूण ताणें काडली. अशें लेखकाक अशें कांय प्रकाशा संबंधान अशें लेखकाक बरे अनुभव येना चड करून आनी तो एक खूब असो बरो अनुभव आशिल्लो तांकां वाचून घेवपाक.
देव बरें करूं. He drew our attention to some of the things. What is necessary when a writer uses historical details and fictionalizes them. And he said that the kind of thinking, the creative genius of the writer, that is trying to put these things imaginatively across, is perhaps a kind of a natural gift. What is important is, many times, he gave an illustration, in fact, before I make the other point, that he has done that very often, and he gave us the example of the kiln, which is called Houghton, which is on the life of the potters, and he said, I could do it. But it was possible to do this with empathy as well as with a certain neutrality. Is it also possible to do it with the same kind of neutrality when it comes to your immediate history? And did it make it a little better for him? I always wonder whether, because he was not really located in Goa, he was a little away. I have this question always in mind when I read Yug Samar in relation to, say, Petals of Blood or Things Fall Apart. They have also such kind of a similar wide vision. And when they write about their past, that kind of complete neutrality is not possible for them. So how he has done that? And I think for this, instead of asking him, we will have to ask someone who has read his Konkani novel and his English translation also. I think Vidya has lived with this work almost for a tapa, I should say. 12 years, 2004 to 16 is not a short time. You have seen it extensively in English translation. Do you feel now that the version that is here, there is any kind of a shift in angle of looking, social dynamics or socio-political analysis? Has there been a kind of a shift of outlook? I'm not saying of content. Now that the version that we have, after a certain kind of trimming, etc. Do you feel that when you read the Konkani one and the one that has been done in English, is there any kind of a certain balance here that is possible?
think in this historical or the social perspective, there would be very much. But quite a few incidents in the sense which are, as it is a novel, especially because Sail Babs, he doesn't write in a very linear fashion. His style of writing is that he goes into, tiny cul-de-sacs, tiny episodes are there. When you read them, you think this is going to be progressing into something further. After a while, you realize that that is complete in itself. He's moved on to something else. So his entire style of writing is like that. He goes on he has a very broad sweep, the way his novels proceed. So quite a lot to that extent, I suppose, in the editing parts that were removed, it was easier that way because we didn't really have to cut the main story as such. Many of the incidents that used to be there on the sides, it was easier to trim those and get the novel down to the required length. So I don't think anything in the historical or the political perspective, any of that has been done.
Actually, what I meant was the approach, the attitudinal approach to the narrative. I think it will be a very interesting study for anyone to undertake the Yug Samvar and the Age of Frenzy. One question I would like to put across to Sail Bab. What actually brought him to this? Is it your concern with humanity's present status of conflict? Is it an understanding of present social dynamics that you were trying to see? आता पळय आमची जी सामाजिक वस्तुस्थिती आसा आनी ती साधारण लक्षात घेऊन तुम्ही ते समाज निर्माण केलो, ती समाज निर्माणी तुम्ही कशी तरेन केली अशें म्हाका दिसता. तर त्या समाजाच्यो ज्यो धारणा आशिल्ल्यो, त्या समाजाच्यो ज्यो एक अंधविश्वास जावं तांच्यो प्रतिकूल परिस्थिती कडेन झगडपाची तांची जी वृत्ती जावं प्रवृत्ती आशिल्ली, ही तुमकां आयच्या समाजान दिसता काय ती तुम्ही पूर्णपणान काल्पनीक अशी निर्माण केली? ताजे खातीर कितें ऐतिहासीक आधार आशिल्लो? परते मातशी इंग्लिशीन पुट अप करता. I have asked him a question. When you created the societal psyche of the times in your novel, when you created their responses to certain beliefs, ideologies, their attitudes, superstitions, etc., did you locate them or create them with the help of the present mindset of that society, or was it altogether an imaginative construct?
कादंबरी बरयतना सगळ्यात तो टफ पार्ट आशिल्लो, सगळ्यात कठीण जो पार्ट आशिल्लो तो 450 वर्सां पयलींच्या समाजाच्या त्या पोकळीत रिगप सगळ्यात टफ पार्ट आशिल्लो. कारण आजची मानसिकता, आजचे संदर्भ, आजचे सगळे हे त्या काळार घेऊन उपयोग नाशिल्ले. त्या संबंधान हांवें अभ्यास केलो आनी म्हाका दिसलें आमच्या गांवांनी रानांनी जे काही लोक आसात न्ही, ते कांय लोक 450 वर्सां पयलींची धारणा घेवन अजूनय जियेताले. अशे बरेचशे गोष्टी अशे ते पळयले आनी ते सूत्र धरून म्हणजे ल्हानपणा म्हाका दिसता गेले 5 वर्सां व्हडलोसो बदल आमच्या समाजात जाल्लो नाशिल्लो. चड करून ॲग्रेरियन समाज आसा तो शेतकरी समाज आसा, तर ते 450 वर्सां व्हडलो कितें क्रांतिकारी बदल जाल्लो अशें नाशिल्लें. तेच पयलींचे ते हे आसा काय म्हणटा ते अंधश्रद्धा किंवा समाजा विशींची काही कल्पना कळपा, बायलां विशींची कल्पना किंवा अशें ते बरेचशे गोष्टी तेच आशिल्ले. ते हांवें तेजे आनीक तेचो डीप स्टडी केली, डीप गेलो आनीक त्या समाजाच्या पोकळीत त्या काळाच्या 450 वर्सां पयलींच्या समाजाच्या पोकळीत पूर्णपणे रिगप किंवा पूर्णपणे ताचो वेध घेवप शक्य नाशिल्लेंच. कारण 450 वर्सां समाजाची ती धारणा, त्या वेळेची तेंची देवस्की, अंधश्रद्धा, नंतर जाती वेवस्था, हे सगळे बरेचशे गोष्टी कठीण आशिल्ले ते हेतू हाडचे. आनी हांवें खूब असो प्रयत्न केलो. तातूंत सगळ्यात जो वीक पॉयंट आशिल्लो त्या काळाचो ती जाती वेवस्था. त्या जाती वेवस्थेक लागून म्हाका दिसता पोर्चुगीजाक चड सोंपें जालें ह्या समाजीक धक्को दिवप. अशी अजून ती मानसिकता आसा न्ही, ह्या समाजान आमकां कितें दिलां आनी ह्या समाजाक कित्याक आमी घेवन मिटींगाक बसलोय. आमी हे तो एक दुगां म्हण एक म्हाल आसता तो एक कडेन ते हे कापतात, ते गोड कापतात, तेन्ना तो फादर पेरिस पावता थिंगा, शिमो पेरिस पावता आनी हे कितें करतात तुमी तुमकां ही हे इथं जात कशी दवरली तो पण ते खांदा रात घालता खांदा रात पळय असं एकदम हे जाता आंग शिरशिरता हे काढून उडयता आणि मग म्हाका पातळ लागता माझ्या तुम्ही व्हड मनीस तुम्ही कोण तुम्ही अशें व्हड मनीस म्हाज्या खांदार हात नाका म्हाका पातळ लागता म्हाका पातळ लागता अशें तरेची एक ती मानसिकता आशिल्ली त्या वेळाचेर ती मानसिकताचो हांवें उपयोग करून घेतला त्या धर्मांतराच्या संदर्भांतल्यान ताचो खूब उपयोग जाला अशें बरेचशे गोश्टी नंतर ही आशिल्ली खंय गांवकारी एक आशिल्ली ती सामकी बरी मनभुलायणी अशी ती संकल्पना आशिल्ली गांवकारी पण गांवकारी कितें आशिल्लें क्षत्रीय आनी ब्राह्मण हे दोगांकच सदस्य मेंबर जो जाताले तेजे भायर कोणा मेंबर जावपाचो अधिकार नाशिल्लो बाकी सगळे सेवक आशिल्ले खूब अशे कोण क्षत्रेकार कोण दिवटेकार कोण अशे मेस्त आनी कोण हे चपडी करताले तांकां गांवकेत मेंबरशीप नाशिल्लीच त्या साठी ती अदभूत आशिल्ली गांवची खूब बरी संकल्पना खूब पोरणी संकल्पना ती कोटग्यान ती दवरली मुखार चालू दवरली कोटग्यान बरेचशी तोडमोड केली पण ती गांवकी आसा तशेंच दवरली ती एक संकल्पना त्या संदर्भ येतात गांवके संदर्भ खूब येतात जे त्या वेळाचे जे सामाजीक संकल्पना आशिल्ले त्या वेळाचे जे गोश्टी समाज संदर्भांतल्यान सगळ्यो गोश्टी सगळ्यो तातूंत आयलात पुरो परिपूर्ण असो समाज तो आदोळशेचो एक समाज परिपूर्ण असो आपल्या स्वरुपान त्या कादंबरीत येता कांयच तशें ते सादारण कितें नाम त्या काळाचें अशें सगळें जे डायमेन्शन सगळें जें आसा तें सगळें हांवें घेतलात आनी ताका लागून ती कादंबरी थोडी ती उंचेर पावूंक शकली अशें दिसता म्हाका कारण आमचे जे पुर्वापार जे हे आसात न्ही संकल्पना वगैरे ताका एक वेगळेच अशे आयाम आसात वेगळेच एक नाट्य आसा वेगळेच डेप्थ आसा इवन फोकलोर आसा न्ही ते सुद्दां एक खूब अशें अभिव्यक्तीक माध्यम आशिल्लें मनशाक अशें म्हणटा उदक आसरो अन्न त्या प्रमाणे अभिव्यक्ती एक महत्वाचें एक डायमेन्शन आसता ती अभिव्यक्ती जी आसा न्ही ही अभिव्यक्ती समाजात विवाह संस्था स्थापन जावचे पयलीं किंवा स्त्रीच्यान समाज पुरुशा कडेन स्थलांतर जालो मातृसत्तेक या पितृसत्ते कडेन तेजे पयलीं लागून ही तरेची कितें लोकवेद किंवा लोकसाहित्य चालू आशिल्लें तेचो हांवें वेध घेतला की येता लोकसाहित्य खूब येता म्हाका एक पॉयंटाचेर लोकवेदाच्या संदर्भांतून ती पुराय गांव पाडून वता अशे बरेचशे गोश्टी घेतलात काही सोडिल्यो ना
He helpfully pointed out certain things that are of interest to us. How ideologically certain kinds of notions that help marginalize some others in the favor of hegemonic groups, how that is ingrained in our society, he said to date, and he was able to find that or excavate that. And he talks about also through an incident that he described, that a so-called Mahar at one point, when the European priest touches him, he is almost feeling guilty that he has in some way defiled the other man. I mean, this is a very beautifully created incident in the story. Beautiful because it is so sad and so close to reality that it makes us realize how dehumanization of an individual can take place through misplaced ideological ingraination. And he also spoke about certain other aspects, how hierarchies of power. And he also talks about the shifting of this hierarchy from the matriarchal to the patriarchy. And he said somewhere there, this must have kind of given an impetus to subversions, to marginalization of the weak and the vulnerable. And he has tried to capture that through various incidents and scenes that he has. One important thing that comes to mind, twice he mentioned the significance of folklore and folk expressions. He particularly said, in the drama of life, I could find many a seed that I have developed here, but more importantly, illustrations came from folklore. So I want to ask Vidya, how did you grapple with this? Because he said at one point, the expression in the folklore itself was a kind of a catalyst for him to realize that a mass exodus from one religion into another, I mean the psychological and the intellectual one, happened. So how could you navigate, how could you negotiate with this transference of this folk incident into your translation? Did you have any difficulty? Was there any kind of a challenge? How did you surmount this?
Sail is always, all his literature is based very deeply in the folk rhythms of this region. So, like that, it's more in the other books, I think, because over here the canvas is so large that like in Havatan and in Kali Ganga, it's more, the novels are more steeped in the folk rhythms of this region. Over here, he does have it as a basis, but then there's so much to do with religion and religious persecution and conversion, and the whole the ambit of the story is so large. Therefore, the folk element is not as deep-rooted and as difficult to negotiate as it was in the earlier books, I felt. Because here the canvas is too big, there are too many incidents happening, and then the religious angle after the conversions, and when he goes on to the caste system and the hierarchy and the breakdown of the caste system, and though the people have been converted into Christianity, but still the caste remains, the caste hierarchy is still there. So all those equations get more predominance in this novel, I feel.
I think we have all been waiting very patiently to look at what is in wraps so that it can be uncovered and we can have a look at the beautiful cover on the front page. So I request on behalf of the panel that Sri Damodar Mauzo, Pai to us, will do the honors. I think there are one or two questions that come to us. Sail is known. I am now slightly moving away from the age of frenzy to a little time of sanity. He has picked on a variety of characterization. The most beautiful part about his fiction is to find innumerable characters and then help them retain their individuality, which is a thing I think next to impossible. How many characters will be there here? About 100 odd characters, I think, if not more. How does he manage to do it? And how does he create a specific dimension of psyche? How do you do it? इतले तुम्ही कमी उतराने, इतले विविध पात्रा आणि त्या पात्रांची मानसिकता असं पळय तांची एक वेगवेगळी तासां कशी उक्तावंक शकतात घटनांतल्यान आणि वर्णनांतल्यान इतल्या कमी उतरांनी.
जो एक टास्क असतो पात्र उभी करतो व्यक्तिमत्व उभी करतो तसे चित्रकार पेंटर आपले व्यक्तिमत्व चित्रायता या तरेची चित्रां ही शब्दांतल्यान काडची पडटात. हांव केन्ना म्हणटा साहित्य असणे हे सर्वसमावेशक अशें ही एक कला ती तितून संगीत असता तातूंत पेंटिंग असता सगळी ती जी कला आसा ती सगळी तितून असतात. तितून हे म्हणजे एक स्ट्रक्चर ते पण एक साहित्याचो एक भाग असता आणि ते जेन्ना सगळे एक कडेन जाता तेन्ना साहित्य सारकें जाता. एक फक्त एक फक्त शब्दांतल्यान एक हे उभी करता एक मनुष्य एक व्यक्ती उभी करता तशी एक ती कळाशी असता. हांवें जर म्हटलें तशी तो एक प्रतिभेचो भाग जो येता आनी प्रतिभे आसात तो तशी जोपर्यंत साहित्यात जिवंत व्यक्ती तयार जायना तुमकां अशें तो पळयन तर वाचन ह्या मनशाक आपूण खंय तरी पळयला तो आतांच म्हाका खंय तरी मेळून गेला असं जोपर्यंत तुमकां दिसना तोपर्यंत त्या साहित्याक एक जिवंतपणा येना, साहित्याक अस्सलपणा येना, एक डेप्थ येना. आनी सगळ्यांत इम्पॉर्टंट पार्ट म्हणल्यार साहित्याचो ती व्यक्तीची आमी आकांक्षा हावेस हे सगळे आमी उक्ते करतात. खरें साहित्य म्हणल्यार ते मनशाचोच इतिहास उरता, मनशाचेच पुराय निरूपण उरता, मनशा विशींच पयलीं उरता. म्हणजे साहित्यात हें येता निसर्ग येता, नेचर येता, खूब येता तरी पण सगळ्यात महत्वाचें जे महत्व दिता हांव ते मनशाक. मनुष्याचो साहित्याचें एक अशें एक भांडवल आसता. त्या मनशाच्या संदर्भांतल्यान साहित्य गरजेचें आसता. फक्त नेचराच्या संदर्भात बरयलें किंवा प्राण्याच्या संदर्भात मनाच्या संदर्भांतल्यान साहित्य बरयलें ते साहित्य जायना. तो मनीस हो एक सगळ्यात महत्वाचो घटक आसता साहित्यात आनी तो जोपर्यंत ती कळाशी लेखकाक येना मनीस उबो करची तोपर्यंत साहित्याक असो व्हडलोसो अर्थ ना. हांवें खूब हें केलां त्याच्या संदर्भात येतात. खंयचें पात्र अशें हांवें असे ओढून हाडील ना आणि बसयील ना त्या संदर्भात सगळे पात्र येतात. बाटाबाटीचे किंवा कन्वर्शनाचे जे जे पण आयाम असतात त्या प्रत्येक आयामात काही हे व्यक्ती येत रावतात. तर मग सगळ्यात ते भाविल्ले जे असते ते शिमा पिरीस जे आसा फादर शिमा पिरीस ते आम्ही ते खंयच्या खंयच मेळना ते म्हाका इतिहासाच्या किंवा खंयच्या हांवें ते पुराय A to Z म्हणून ते हांवें क्रिएट केले ते मग खंयच्या इतिहासात ते मेळ्ळे अशें ते उबीकर जे फाटलें कारण म्हणल्यार खंयचे जे झगडी आसतली खंयची झगडी ते पुराय जी चूक आसता खंयची एकच पार्टीची आसना एकच जमावाची आसना. आमी म्हणटा महाभारतात पर्यंत आमी म्हणटा कौरव आनी पांडव सगळीच कौरवाली आनी सगळीच बरे पांडवाली अशें म्हणूया ना. त्यासाठी ते म्हाका हांवें तें एक पात्र उबी केलें. बाकीचे सगळे पोर्तुगीज ते अंमलदार किंवा पोर्तुगीजचे धर्मोपदेशक ते सगळे म्हणटाले जबरदस्तीन आमी जो राजालो धर्म तोच प्रजेलो धर्म तशें आमी करुया म्हणून. तो एक पात्र अशें बरवता ना आमी तांचे प्रेमान तेंचे काळीज तेंचे काळीज परिवर्तन करून हृदय परिवर्तन करून आमी तो धर्मांतर करूया. त्यामध्ये आपल्यापर्यंत तो हे चलताच प्रयत्न चालूच आसता शेवटपर्यंत चालूच आसता प्रयत्न. तो गांवागांवांनी वयता गांवाच्या तो वय आसता तेजी भायर रावता आनी शर्माव करता अशें तरेन आपल्यापर्यंत तो प्रभाव चालूच आसता तेजो प्रचार. पण ते तो काही गोष्टी ते तांकां मानवना आनी ते धरून मागीर इंग्लिशीन आवडटात मागीर ताका खूब ख्यास्त जाता खूब त्रास जाता खूब ख्यास्त जाता ताका लासून मारता शेवटी अशे तरेचें अशें एक ते पात्र ते मागीर खूब पुराय साहित्यात म्हणजे आपणें जें साहित्य बरयलां तें सगळें साहित्यात म्हाका दिसता मागीर बरें साहित्य हांव बोल्डली म्हणून की जागतीक साहित्यात इंटरनॅशनल लिटरेचर पण ते एक अशें प्रभावी अशें एक व्यक्तिमत्व जावं येता अशें म्हाका दिसता.
He has shared with us where exactly the inspiration to create his characters lies, how he works on them, and he also confides that one of his most favorite characters ever created, and they are, I think, 100 or 2, not only in this novel, but if you take his entire fictional oeuvre, then they are quite a handful. And yet he says, Padre Simão Pires becomes a totally fictionalized character, but one of his most favorite. And true, it's a character that is truly wearing the fisherman's shoes, as we say, representing the true Christian spirit. There are 2 other characters as well, Padre Kulas and Ferra, where these also, the chefs, of course, chefs who represented the police force, etc., they were bound by duty and perhaps ideological leanings to follow what the rulers wanted. But how did you find these 2 characters who are also priests? Were they taken somewhat from history or they were also totally fictional characters? ते काल्पनिक काय तांकां थोडी ऐतिहासिक आधार आसा.
दोन प्रोसेस यूज केले. एक धर्मा संबंधाचे एक यूज केलो आणि दुसरे एक्चुअली सोल्जर्स म्हणटा ते आर्मी आशिल्ले आणि शासक असे 3 फोर्सेस 4 म्हणटा 4. एक तो पोर्तुगीज राजालो धर्म तोच प्रजेलो धर्म हो एक मुळावो एक संकल्पना. त्याच्या नंतर शासन जे आशिल्ले ते गव्हर्नर व्हायसराय किंवा तेजे हातासकयले लोक ते आशिल्ले. त्यानंतर एक्चुअली त्यांचे सोल्जर आशिल्ले आर्मी आशिल्ली आणि चौथे आशिल्ले ते धर्मोपदेशक पाद्री बिद्री हे आशिल्ले. हे सगळ्यांचे मेळून हाताक हात घालून हे सगळे धर्मांतर जाल्ले आसा. प्रत्येकाक सगळ्याक एकटाच सपोर्ट पण ते ना इवन ज्युडिशरी आशिल्ली ज्युडिशरी तर खूब इफेक्टीव ज्युडिशरी आशिल्ली पण ज्युडिशरी पर्यंत ते सगळे पावत नाशिल्ले. जे पळय कितें घडटा गांवांत घडटा किंवा चर्चात घडटा इगर्जेत घडटा किंवा बातमीसमाळाचे घडटा ते ज्युडिशरी न पावचे ते खबरदारी सारखे घेताले आणि ते पावनाशिल्ले. एकच केस जाल्ली खंय तरी त्या वटेन म्हापसा वाड्यान की ना हे धर्मांतर आसा ते कोर्टान ठरयलें की हे धर्मांतर बेकायदेशीर हे धर्मांतर लिगल न्ही. लिगल जर प्रॉब्लेम कितें जालो ते लिगल जाल्यार कितें करता तो ऑलरेडी बातमी घेतला ते परत हिंदू लोक परत घेनात आपण धर्मांतर ते उलट आनी चड अशी एक तरेची गोंयची केस जाली. अशे तरेन ते जेन्ना पळय हे धर्मसभेचे धर्माचे लोक हे बाटाबाटी काम करताले तेन्ना म्हाका कोण तरी एक फादर जाय आशिल्लो जो खूब कडकपणान खूब क्रूरपणान किंवा सगळ्याक दामून दवरून असो तो एक तो सगळ्याचेर तो इवन तो शेप आनी आर्मीचे तर ते शेप चलता शेपाक पण तो थंड करता गप्प वगैरे म्हणटा हांवें सांगलें आयकय म्हणटा आर्मीचे लोकांक अशें तरेन तें एक पात्र जालें वेगळें तिसरो एक आर्मीचो तो असो तो नांव कितें सांगितलें गो शेप रिबेलो न्ही रिबेलो तो दुभंगिरो असो एक व्यक्तिमत्व दुभंगीर मागीर जालें तेगे आवय तेगे बापूय हिंदू आशिल्लो आवय हिंदू आशिल्ली बापूय क्रिस्तांव जातकीर तेका हें ठाणेदार म्हणून पदवी दिली क्रिश्चन ठाणेदार म्हणून मागीर आवय बी ते आवय मागीर ते हे जातकीर ती सुसायड करून मारता आपूण जायना हें म्हण कितें आपूण क्रिश्चन जायना किंवा ह्या संदर्भांत ती ती मारता आनी तेतूंतल्यान तो भुरगो व्हड जाल्लो उरता आनी तो बाकीच्या पेक्षा चड क्रूरपण करता बाकी ते सोल्जर्स करता तेच्या पेक्षा चड तो जबरदस्ती करता लोकांक चड सतायता अशें तरेचें तें व्यक्तिमत्व तें दुभंगिरे व्यक्तिमत्व तें कळटा शेवट पर्यंत तें अशें दुभंगिरे व्यक्तिमत्व अशें म्हणून तें शेवट पर्यंत कळटा अशें ती वेगवेगळ्या संदर्भांतल्यान वेगवेगळे पात्र उबी जाता आसत आनी ती प्रत्येक सपोर्टींग आसता प्रत्येक गोष्टीक सपोर्टींग अशी सगळीं पात्रां तो फिगरेक म्हणा सगळीं पात्रां त्या पुराय धर्मांतराक सपोर्टींग संदर्भांतल्यान ती सगळीं येतात अशें अशें तरेन ती जाता.
It is true that some characters do emerge as split personalities. You can see that there is a kind of a complexity in their very creation, their life, their upbringing, and this can cause a certain impact in their behavioral and attitudinal patterns, and those are brought out in a very fine-tuned manner in the novel. In a novel of this large canvas, it is very difficult to bring out these finer shades, and those have come. For you to capture that, and Konkani is a language that is highly metaphoric, so a lot of sense and meaning semantics can be compressed into a small phrase. When you translate that into English, it might not be that easy. So how did you navigate this? How did you overcome this kind of? Did you have any problems?
Yes, problems there always are, especially with Selbab's work. It is very complex. So you have to make the choice about how much you want to, how much you can retain and how much you have to leave out. Because the point is, what he can say in one word has to be explained in Konkani. It has to be explained in English. So if you put that into the text, what happens again? My basic problem was the size of the thing. So what happens is you are expanding to explain, and you are again fighting with the number of words that you are able to keep. So this was one huge challenge in the sense how much to retain and how much could go, but the general story and the sense had to be retained. That was a continuous challenge.
Sail Bab also referred to the Dharma Sabha, that is to the Inquisition, and the erection of this institution emphatically and without bias. In a very impassioned manner, he is able to draw the picture of Inquisition. In fact, I am very much tempted to compare this to another novel, the novelist Khadak, who has also described the Inquisition in two of his novels. And I think in future some kind of a comparative study of this kind will emanate. But I think Age of Frenzy has opened out a wide panorama of possibilities, but mainly of readerly avenues. I invite each one of you in this auditorium to become ambassadors of the Age of Frenzy, not to practice the Age of Frenzy, but to share your understanding of the nuances that the novelist and the transcreator have helpfully opened out for us. I am extremely grateful to both of them because they spoke in a very candid and spontaneous manner, and which helped us to understand how their mind was perhaps working at a given time of a creative and a trans-creative process. It is very difficult for a person like me to come at the 11th hour and say, share your creative process, but they have done more than I could elicit. I thank them both heartily for this and for your very esteemed presence and your attention. I thank the audience. I also thank the organizers.